Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about love. Now if you're new here, my name is Chloe and this is Chloe Lloyd Tarot. And we're going to be asking the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot a few questions regarding love life. So we're going to be asking, in what ways are my actions directly putting me on the path to meet someone to fall in love with? And in what ways am I blocking my access to someone to love? So in what way are my current actions withholding me from finding love? And in what ways are they aligned? So let's get into it. We have 5 of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups, Ace of Cups, 10 of Cups, that's promising, 10 of Wands, 3 of Swords, and the Magician. In your recent past, you went through a bit of a financial struggle. And this put you on the path, rather than asking for help, you dug deep into yourself and you lit a little bit of a fire to get yourself out of the dire situation you were in. That's what we're seeing from the 5 of Pentacles to the Ace of Wands. And from that spark, you decided within yourself that you were going to get yourself to work. Put the blinders on, focus on your work. Sorry. So you got to work, and in the recent past, what's kind of held you back from finding love has been that you've just been very busy and very occupied with your security, your foundation, and your lifestyle. I don't know why, but I'm hearing, once I have these things figured out, maybe I'll have time to meet somebody. I don't know if you've told yourself this or if this is something that you kind of had in your mind, but once I get through this rough patch, maybe then I'll have time to meet somebody, or maybe then I'll meet someone. So in your past, you're very much conscious of the fact that you're not aligned, you're misaligned from finding somebody to love. You just, the time and the circumstances and your situation just did not leave a lot of room for love potential. And part of it was your mindset, and part of it was your focus. You know, sometimes we do have to focus on other things. Then we have, in the present, we have the 5 of Cups. So you're grieving the loss of something. But the loss is interesting because it's kind of a loss of what you thought things were going to be, and presently it's taking you a little bit longer to recognize what you still have. But what we have at the core of this reading is the Ace of Cups. So this is a new emotional beginning. But before we can have this new emotional beginning, we have to recognize that what has been lost, what has been spilled, doesn't have to come back to us in order for us to be happy, to find emotional fulfillment, to find love. That sometimes it's something that we already still have, that we just don't recognize or take for granted, that allows for this new emotional outpour, this new emotional beginning. And in the present, if you lean into what you still have as opposed to what you have lost, I know it is difficult, especially when we feel grief, we miss something. I don't know who or what you're missing, but there's something that your recent actions of your working and your focus on gaining stability made it so you lost some connections in your life, or you lost the opportunity. I don't know why, but I'm hearing that they went to somebody else, and you're looking over that loss and you're focusing on them. And the thing is, you need to turn your focus back inward, focus on yourself, focus on all the ways that you still have a lot emotionally going for you. I don't know why, but I'm seeing two people who are thinking about you, who you're taking for granted, you're not conscious of. And then we have the new beginning, the Ace of Cups. So this is starting fresh. This is recognizing all of the, love potential that you have. This is a love potential card, and it's moving into the 10 of Cups, which means family, emotional fulfillment, the rainbow after a rainy day. This is really saying a lot, since the card and the nuance card is the 5 of Pentacles, is where we started. One of your biggest blockages, which is not sometimes even that conscious to you, is your inability to accept active service from others. Or even when you do, you feel like you immediately have to make it right and give something back in return. Even when your resources are scarce or your time is scarce, you always have to even the playing field, and you have a hard time accepting grace and accepting people giving of themselves to you, to help you, to support you, without giving something back. So seeing this 10 of Cups coming in later on is really nice. It feels like a little bit of a full circle moment, whereas when it comes to your security in your environment, in your home world, you have a hard time accepting help, but coming in with this new emotional beginning, you are very rapidly continuing to a full completion of an emotional cycle. And I don't know why, but I don't think this is necessarily in love. I think this is in the self. You're going to connect to family again in order to feel this sense of kind of coming full circle and completion. When you've poured into your work and trying to build stability for yourself, you've lost track of those you love. And that's also showing with the 5 of Cups too, those 2 cups that are still standing that you're not recognizing. That's the people that are still in your life that still want to hold you and emotionally help you. When it comes to your goals and your stability, you shoulder that very much alone. And so it's hard for you to integrate people into your life in an emotional way. So this coming forward with the Ace of Cups and the 10 of Cups is a sign that you might be closing that cycle out. You might recognize, and in order for me to build deep emotional bonds that lead to lasting love, I have to let people in on my passion, on my drive, on what it is I want in my daily life. And in the near future, we're starting to add burdens to our life. So we have the 10 of Wands. So this Ace of Wands moment in your past, and this 5 Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles is building that. Then you have this emotional outpouring. I don't know why, but it's coming up as crying. I feel like this 5 of Cups is going to bring about, with the Ace of Cups, not necessarily an overflowing in a truly positive way, but in a catharsis way, in a way that you really need to just let it all out, and then you accept a moment of love from the people around you and peace with the 10 of Cups, which brings you back into, what can I do now? How can I do more? And you build up a lot energetically towards the 10 of Wands. You're going to take on a lot of burden. and it's going to be energetically hard for you to keep up with. Which comes to the Three of Swords. So with the Ace of Wands, a spark, an attraction towards a person. Ace of Cups, the emotional beginning, the outpouring of that. Those things normally would lead to kind of a new love interest. But we're showing the Three of Swords below in the future placement of this, which means you still have some previous hurt and some previous betrayal to mentally process before a true emotional beginning and rebirth with a potential love interest can take shape. I don't know if it's going to be this person that's going to betray you, or if it's going to be your mind that does, but this is also speaking to there's more people involved. So either yourself, you are still hung up on someone you've lost in the past, and so even though there's this new attraction and this new emotional thing coming in, you are not really able to fully mentally presently be there without having a pang of hurt. I'm hearing comparison. It's also evident with the Five of Cups, the comparison of what you've got sitting in front of you versus what has been lost. Even when there's emotional potential and a lot of attraction potential, we sometimes still compare these love opportunities to people of the past that we thought were going to be it for us. So your big blockage is, one, you have this belief that your life has to be perfectly set up, and that the scenario in which you meet love, your life, your security, everything has to be sorted before the right person can come in. That's really hindering your ability to connect to somebody where you are. Love is about accepting you where you are. And I understand if you need to focus on your material matters, say in your recent past you really needed to save some money, you really needed to get your home life sorted, you needed some safety and security because you had been out in the cold. So you met this person, there was a little bit of a spark along, like right in the middle of this time of you really just not in a great place in your life, focusing yourself and working towards something else. So I understand that you kind of like put a pin in that. And at the same time, you were processing the loss of the last thing that you thought was going to be good, the last love that you thought was going to be love. And it brought about comparison with this other thing. And it's showing that you start this other emotional connection right now, like in the present you're starting it, and you're kind of excited about where it can go. We have the Ten of Cups coming, so this is showing like big happy family moment, but then it adds to the burden of your goals and where you want to see yourself and what you want to do. You might be a really big acts of service person, so once you meet somebody, you fall into the trap of people pleasing, overgiving, and not accepting help for yourself. You are going to want to give so much to this connection that it's going to burden you potentially. And then when coming with the Three of Swords, when it still does not quite come to fruition, the heartbreak is going to feel exhaustive. The Three of Swords though is very, very temporary. It's a mental space. It's a potential betrayal in a sense, but I don't know. I'm just sensing, and this is just my intuition here, that the one sword that represents you, which is the mental hang-up of you needing to be in the right place in your life. The second sword being this person of the past that seems to occupy your mind. And the third sword representing this new connection that you've made, that's been represented by the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. The confliction in that you actually don't feel like you're in the place to receive this new connection, and because you are thinking about this other person that is no longer in your life, that I sense has moved on, that I sensed might be with somebody else. Now, there's not many cards in this spread that could rule as a signifier, except for our outcome, which is the most beautiful, powerful card in the spread today, which is the Magician. The one thing that you have right now, like the thing that, well, not the one thing, but the most powerful thing that you have going for you in your love life, what is going to bring you closer to that lasting love that you so desire, is your ability to dig deep into your willpower, into your manifestation, into your alchemizing of your life. All of these circumstances you have experienced and are experiencing are leading you to a moment where you realize life is what you make it, and you are going to make your life magical. You are going to bring in love. The Magician is one that sees what has to be done behind the scenes to make the magic trick seem effortless. And what it is a lot of effort, a lot of skill building, a lot of hard work, but also divine self-belief. You need to believe in yourself, that what you want for yourself financially and in security and environment, in your passions, in your pursuits, and in your love life, you can have all. You can have it all. It's just a delicate balance. It's a belief that you can build that world and create it for yourself. You have divine skills, divine abilities that you haven't always given yourself permission to utilize. What's coming forward for me is that depth of emotion and passion that you feel. We have a lot of wands and we have cups in this situation, is hindered by sometimes a sharp mind that thinks it's not practical, or that it's not possible. It's also coming with the Three of Swords. When things start to feel a little too complicated or requiring a little too much balance on your part, you question mentally whether it's capable or whether you're capable. But with the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups, you have a little fire and a little passion in you and an emotional well that you go to that does believe you can. You just need to remind your mind that you can. And so with the Magician, that is yielding your mind to utilize your emotion, to utilize your passion, to utilize your practicality and the physical work in this physical realm that you are doing. What is going right for you in love is that this current stage that you are experiencing, that you have experienced, the loss of this connection of the past, this current spark that I'm actually not certain if this current spark and this person that's kind of like occupying a little bit of your mind is going to lead to something, because in the future we have the Three of Swords, which shows a temporary disruption. You could determine with this temporary disruption that I'm finally going to let go of this past person who has moved on so I can move into the presence with this new connection. It might be the emotional heartbreak and the hurt, the grief that's coming with the Five of Cups, the sense of mental disruption coming with the Three of Swords, which is a temporary heartbreak. That temporary heartbreak might be, okay, I actually have to fully let go of this past connection in order to move forward. But the outcome, being the Magician, means that all of these experiences, feeling out in the cold and like you can't accept help, feeling that little spark, that little fire light up about something new, going to the drawing board, working extremely hard, feeling that grief kind of the loss of what was, and wanting to lean into what is, turning around to discover that you have a new emotional beginning, it building up to a beautiful moment in your present where you're going to have a kind of full circle emotional moment that's going to feel really good, to building back up your passions to the point of burden, and then realizing, okay, I mentally have to process what can't be and what will be and what can be and what won't be, and mental acceptance of the hurt that you've experienced. That whole journey is enriching your ability to alchemize for yourself tenfold, and that is why we are seeing the Magician in the final outcome card. The Magician is a little bit of back to the drawing board, but in a way that is intentional, in a way that is embodied, in a way that is going to build a life that is even better than this past circumstance you have had. Let's ask the cards a little bit more. We have Five of Swords. We have Eight of Swords. We have Two of Cups. So this past person that you've let go, who's walked away from you, or who let go of you, I want to say, it came from mental differences. This person you really like, you guys didn't quite see eye to eye. There was a altercation, there was a fight, and it's something that you hold regret over, a regret in your heart a little bit about maybe words that were expressed, things that were said. And they walked away and they moved on with somebody else or something else, or they're just not going to be in your life. You're looking back at this person mentally quite a bit, that's showing up with this Five of Swords and this Three of Swords. And the Five of Cups, looking over what has been spilled. I think you need to free yourself from this. You need to be able to walk away from it as well, because they have. You know, you can't continue to play with someone who doesn't want to play any longer. And that's coming forward with the Eight of Swords. You are blinding yourself, playing the victim in the situation in your mind's eye is, why can't anything go right for me? And the truth is, you have to release that blindfold. You have to realize that you are the one that holds the key to your happiness, nobody else. External circumstances cannot hold you back from your happiness if you choose that you are going to choose happiness. So it's about releasing yourself from the mental cage that you somehow have bad luck, that life has got you down, that you're not capable of finding love. You have a belief that, oh, I'm just going to stand here and wait until my circumstances get better, and then I'll find love. That's not. You will not transform into the Magician if you continue to play a victim of your own life. And what's coming forward is, if you finally free yourself, if you finally mentally walk away from this person of the past, you accept that you are not a victim in this circumstance, but you are someone who can change your outcome. You're going to meet an emotional counterpart. You're going to meet somebody, or you might have already met them with this third connection here. But when you finally start to alchemize your life, when you finally start to take off the blindfold and accept that you hold divine power over your direction in your love life, is when you're going to meet someone to love. And the magician doesn't just harness their power in matters of love. They harness their power in their entire design, their entire life design. So this is about continuing to build the stability, continuing to emotionally develop yourself and put yourself out there, continuing to light and strike matches with the Ace of Wands, but remember to delegate and not take on too much passionate burden. It's about a divine balance and manifesting all of the things that you have. It's about yielding your mind to very much what's coming forward with these final sword cards is your mind plays tricks on you. You need to yield your mind in a way that works for you. So if you finally accept that you hold divine power in your life to create a life design that is beautiful, once you step through and into that design of your life, someone's going to step through that door as well and meet you there. And you're going to find an emotional counterpart who sees you fully for who you are, who accepts you where you are, and sees the vision that you have for yourself and for your life, and holds that vision as well and wants that for not only themselves but for you. It's not about perfection. It's not about all or nothing mentality. I really need you to believe this. You cannot focus solely on one aspect of your life and expect the others not to atrophy. Let me say that again. You can't focus on one area of your life and not expect the other areas to atrophy. So yes, your stability needs to continue to build groundingness. Yes, continue to chip away at that, but leave yourself open-minded to the potential connections you could make. Work on your mind and remember that you are in control here. And use that little fire and that little passion that you have inside your heart. Let's pull a oracle card. We have Enemy in the Dark. To turn to your inner child for help. Okay, so this version of you that talks mean to yourself, that thinks you can't do it, that processes the hurt and overall and thinks, things need to be perfect in order to be happy, is turning away from your inner child. Who is that little person that you once were? And what did they dream about? What did they want? When was the last time you had a conversation with them? When was the last time you recognized their innate gifts and their talents that are still within you? Sometimes we have to lean into the things that come effortless, lean into the things that were always there from childhood. What is the little glimmer in your heart that you held as a child? What was that little passionate spark that you had? What kind of life did you see yourself leading? And I don't mean it in a ridiculous sense of like, I was going to be an astronaut and I was, but what did you want for yourself? You wanted to feel safe. You wanted to feel loved. And you wanted to feel like you had purpose. And children are very simple in that way. So your inner child wants to speak to you. And before you set and embark on this beautiful journey with the magician and yielding and wielding all of your gifts and all of the areas of your life design keeps coming up. You're going to go to the drawing board and you're going to come fully design what you want for yourself. When you do that, when you create that life design, you need to consult your inner child. those are your messages. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, please leave a comment below and connect and like this video, follow and subscribe for more. I look forward to doing more in-depth readings in this style. And you can also follow me on my socials. I'm on Instagram at Chloe Lloyd Tarot, TikTok at Chloe Lloyd Tarot, and you can find me on my website at www.chloelloydtarot.com. Thank you so much for being here, for checking in. If this resonated, take what does. If it did not, I hope next time we'll have some messages for you. Peace and love.